You'd be like 3, 2, 1 live or some shizzle like that.
Kat, we are live.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kat Udero, entrepreneur and psychic wrangler, and also a psychic empath. And I want to welcome you to Third Eye Salon, where in each and every show, we take a fresh look between the veils of reality. And today we are, God, I know Linda and I are so pumped. I'm sure Preston is too. I haven't checked in with him yet, but we're looking between the veils of the wee folk, also known as the Devic or Fae realm. That's one of the veils we'll be going through. And we're going to be meeting some other mystical beings where our guest, Reverend Ned, just has amazing encounters where not only did he have a 3-hour NDE where he had encountered all sorts of things, but even before this, he had the ability to see wee folk, gnomes, and gosh, angelic forces and even ET beings. So all of this happened prior. He had those abilities prior to the NDE, and then the NDE that only became more natural, more crisp, more real. So those are my words for it, but we'll find out what his are. So before we get into all of that, we're going to also say hello to my friend, conscious business coach and psychic, our co-hostess with the mostest, Linda Coulter-Burge. How are you today?
I am muted. Okay.
I was like,
it's Saturday. I am so excited. The more I talk to the Rev, the more excited I get. He's bringing out all of the native vibes in me. And yeah, every time he says ceremony, I go, oh. My heart just goes, oh. Yeah. So I am really excited for everybody to join us, and you're going to get something really special right off the bat from the Rev Ned. And as always, I will be your chat host. So be kind, be loving, be supportive, be in curiosity. And if you are anything below that in energy, I'm going to ask you to cut it out. And if you don't, then I'm going to boot you out because my rule stands, be nice or get out. So I don't like nastiness in our chat. And luckily, we have beautiful people that join us every
amazing people.
Chat. I'm so excited they make, and their energy is also what makes this so beautiful.
Yes.
So the energy in our chat goes over into our Facebook group. So if you haven't joined our Facebook group, please join it because we've got some amazing people in there and we're all there to support each other in this journey. So join Third Eye Salon Facebook group, join the events because then you get notified when we have things. And be sure, speaking of notification, to hit that button down below so that you can get notified, and hit like and share if you want to have your friends find out about us. So I love this. I'm so excited to talk about this. And again, for those of you who have been so generous to buy us a coffee, we really appreciate it because it's going to help us bring even more technology to support the program to help you. So thank you, and thank you for joining us. And
all right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's okay. I just wanted you to toss a mic to Rev Ned so we could see his adorable face and you can fall in love with him like we did. Hey, Rev Ned, how are you?
I'll take that compliment anytime. Adorable face. I'm an AFer. I have an adorable face. What a high blessing to be here with each and every one of you. It really is. It really is.
It really is. Thank you. Go ahead.
I would like to. It's a prayer. It's a cleansing prayer. It's very, very short. I say a lot before ceremonies or in the morning, whenever I feel like it. So I would like to share that with you all. Picture, however you do it, visualize a golden light and a white light. around you, coming down, embracing you. Pure love, pure light, full of tranquility. We welcome all entities in love and light. We speak to you from the Lord God of our innermost being, our essence, telling you you all are healed and forgiven and lifted and enlightened, filled and surrounded by the Christ love and the Christ light. And we ask the beautiful many to come to escort you off to your perfect place and go in peace. And we ask for high blessings from the west and from the north and from the east and from the south and from the sky beings and from Momma Earth to be with each and every one that's part of this program. Aho and amen.
Wow.
I'm still getting over being an adorable face.
You are. I feel like every time I see you, you get cuter, and I don't know what's going on. Like from the screenshot of the Jeff Mara podcast to you actually being in his podcast, and then to like your biopics to now, it's like I don't know, you're youthing, and you're inspiring. So I want a youth
Thank
like
you.
you. Yeah. All right. So now I don't want to forget one of our buddies, our dear friends. It's researcher, experiencer. Whoa.
An adorable face.
Yes.
And
Another AFer.
oh
Another
yeah. Oh my
AFer.
God. Yeah. No, don't even get me started on Preston. I'll just make a fool of myself. So researcher, experiencer, author, and our fan favorite, well-known so many places, Preston Dennett. Preston, thank you for blessing us.
Hey, always a pleasure. Always excited to see which guests you bring on. Overflowing with love and light. It's awesome how you find them. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this wonderful show today and see where we go. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure.
Oh, it will be. Thank you for bringing your clear, crisp, shiny, divine energy, Preston. We love you.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I'm going to read Mr. Rev Ned's bio. And I feel like, all right, so I'm just going to jump into it because I want to talk so bad. So here we go. Rev Ned believes we are here for divine cosmic reasons and filled with divine connections and saturated with divine purposes and divine potential. He teaches that each person is a cosmic gift that needs to be unwrapped in pure love and light and gratitude. He has taught on this pure love, also known as agape, for the last 38 years. He was raised close to the earth and not in brick and mortar institutions. At his personal Walden Pond, he would spend hours in the woods and be one with all that is. This was a spiritual garden for him where he was planted in deep, rich soil of not just Momma Earth, but the ever-expanding cosmos, which is also consciousness. Rev Ned has done Earth ceremonies since he was a young teen, and his friend and Lakota adopted brother, Uncle Dave, has been instrumental in introducing Rev to Lakota sweat lodges 27 plus years ago, which led to Lawampi, if I hope I said that right, and Uwippi ceremonies, great, which always lead to spiritual energies and entities emerging. Yeah, that is something I learned from Mr. Drew Banky as well. Not experienced it, but all right. To name just a few experiences of Rev: native elder spirits, orbs, and Momma Earth lighting up and Pleiadian energies arriving during a Navajo bear ceremony, elementals dancing and assisting during NDE and spirit animals flowing around. Some people know about spirit animals, some people experience that, some people would like to experience and knowing who their spirit animal is. So many ancient ancestors joining in and winged ones coming to be with the higher pure love during ceremonies, as well as high energy beings showing up on the back deck on the hill that Rev calls home. Recently, during a ceremony while he was drumming and singing, spirit drums in the Northwest Sky Rivers joined the ceremony, and it sounded like 100 nations gathering, making divine sounds for almost an hour. I just want to put Linda's spirit there and have her be part of that ceremony right now. Rev Ned loves to get up and be one with the star rise and also to be with the star set in the evening. The sky rivers communicate, he says. Much of his news arrives from different aspects of creation and not from TV or radio. Every step and breath, he says, is sacred. Boom! All right, you can tell he wrote that. You can tell he wrote that. It's so in his voice. Sir, thank you so much.
You did that so well.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, you're one of those people, and you have such a great speaking voice. I'm not just trying to flatter you, but like you're somebody who could read a book and children would just be like, oh, safe, warm. Like you just have like there's such a warmth. And all right, I'll stop. I'll just stop.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But it's true though. I just feel like you're a hidden gem, and I just want to like pop you out and like show you off to the world. Let's talk about, there is so much to talk about. I want Linda, what would you like to, I want to talk about the NDE, but do you have any questions you'd like to start with?
Oh my gosh. I think that for those who haven't seen anything already with you, I would love just a little bit of background. There's so much of a native connection with you. And just kind of explaining your relationship there, because you talk about the 4 directions, you talk about ceremony, you have Sister Corn, we talk about tobacco, ceremony, everything in there is so enriched and supportive, and from that culture, maybe just talk a little bit about that so that people understand how that's affected you.
Yes, thank you. Like Kat had mentioned, I was raised very close to the earth and to all that is. That's when I started becoming close to the elements and working with the elements and the entities thereof of the elements, which led to more and more and more. And I was not raised in any type of brick and mortar institution at all. That would come later. And I met my wife. We married in 1976 and dated for 4 years before that, knew one another 2 years in 2 different high schools locally. And she was one of these very good looking Christian gals that went to church. And I started following her, probably for the wrong reasons. But I would listen, and that was my initiation into hearing about Yeshua, was that. But I always I would go back and do the ceremonies. And then I'm making it really short. And then Uncle Dave, we would meet him at a local Native American, kind of like a trade shop that we had here for years. And his wife taught beading. And again, they were very involved in the Lakota. They've been sun dancers for many, many, many years. And that was probably 28 years ago when we started becoming friends. We became very, very, very close. So that's where the Lakota world came in. Besides doing the Lakota ceremonies, we would do just a lot of what you call earth ceremonies, which is what I enjoy and that I facilitate. I'm not up there to do anything with the Lakota ceremonies except to be a part of it and help with the sweat lodge and those kind of things. So I got very involved in the church, but I was still doing ceremonies. I was in many worlds. And for most of my career, I worked with international scholars, students, researchers, met folks from 177 countries. I would bring those people together for spiritual gatherings on general time. It was incredible. One of the most holiest people I ever met was a Muslim from Sudan, Muhammad Azahari. We still stay in contact. This is back in the 1980s. And he impacted my life. I was facilitating a Bible study at work, and I had their permission to bring him in and sit on a couch. He was in his traditional Sudanese clothes. And without saying one word, he changed the atmosphere to pure love. Pure love. We brought him back the next month. He was one of the darkest, beautiful human beings I've ever met. And you would see him with a glow up here on campus walking around. And he impacted my life a lot with the be involved in the church, be involved in ceremonies. And we would bring spiritual people together at Miami University, even a lot of manager and directors of departments. And a lot of those people that were being arrested and killed at that time in Sudan. And one of their leaders was Taha. He was like Gandhi was for India, Taha was for Sudan. And they killed him and burned his body and hid it so they couldn't be a memorial. But his wife came to the local university where we're at, and his daughter came and his disciples, if you will. And when you were around them, everyone, you would sit there and do this when we had meetings. You'd vibrate. The energy was just pure love and light. So I want to continue on. That was a really key, was Muhammad. And we still stay in contact. And again, that was back in the 1980s. So I got involved, and I thought, I think I'll go to seminary and learn more about this Yeshua. I was rejected. It's a 6-month process. I was rejected. They said, you're way too enthused about your faith, about being spiritual. So I was rejected. I was told by the spirit world, try it again. I was accepted and then booted out the 3rd year because I was way too cosmic at that time. I became too cosmic. So that led me to teaching. I used to do 1-act plays. And again, all my earth was with me, all these energies. And I was involved in probably over 44 different denominations. And then the last few years, my calling was to do more ceremonies. Like I said, I'm retired now. I love watching the star come up and the star go down. I spend a lot of time outside being grounded. And I still love doing ceremonies. Sometimes I do ceremonies by myself. And the one he described where sound like 100 nations, that was for a family friend that had died. And we called it a releasing ceremony. I was facilitating. Very powerful. It was very, very powerful. So that's what I do now. I'm not involved with the church. So I have a lot of friends in all those different places, and they just see Rev as something different. There's a good word. That Rev he's just different. He's just different. So I hope that helped put it in some type of perspective, Linda. I hope for you.
Yes, absolutely. And, there is a presence with you that I feel strongly in the native vibe. And
Yes.
so that was why I wanted to bring it out a little bit more. And we have connection with a lot of our members to Native American. We've not really talked that much about it. So letting that shine more in. I'd love to have a show just with you and that. But we're here to talk about a lot of other things.
I'm
Yes.
in, Linda. We'll do that. We'll do another show with Rev Ned I love it.
Yeah. So
I
I
feel
didn't
like-
really have a question yet. I just really wanted
Oh.
that explained more deeply for people to understand that deep level of connection that you have.
Yeah.
I had something Kat doesn't know. This happened Wednesday, when I'm not connected that much to the world per se, as I was told to cut a lot of strings a long time ago. So mystical things happen all the time to me. So Wednesday, I'm out cutting the grass. We have 5 acres. And I always feel like I'm a tube, a hollow bone. A Lakota man, Grandpa Frank Foolscrow, always taught about hollow bones, who I visited spiritually. These passed on. But I always feel like I'm a tube between the Earth Mother and the Sky People when I'm on the zero turn. The wife drives the tractor and I drive the zero turn. And something overwhelming said, something's happened to the Earth Mother. Something's been cleansed. Something's been purged. Something it felt like pure, loving, thankful energy coming from her. And I'm still trying to figure out what it was, but it was amazing. Our neighbor's mower, he was mowing and it quit. He has a lot bigger. So I went over there and I do most of our home repairs. He has a different mower and it's like, I'm looking at it. I said, man, it just quit. So I asked my helpers, my 5 little helpers, I said, you got to help me on this one. I said, so I heard, do this, do that, put this. The belt had come off that drives the mower. and you got to put it back on. I didn't know how to put it back on. They did. And then I had to get a screwdriver and put it, and he was happy. It saved him a call. He had to cancel the people coming to look at that. But that was two mystical experiences within probably, 3 or 4 hours that I had. And it's like, it's amazing. I love that. Every day is like that. Again, every day is so sacred, every breath, every step.
Absolutely. And how many of those sacred experiences do we miss because we're not paying attention? I think it's not that, I get a lot of questions, and I think that sometimes myself, of why am I not getting as much of a connection as I used to have? It's that I'm not paying attention. That I'm too distracted to be in observance and catch those things that come in. And I'm wondering if you have advice for people. Here's a question. If you have advice for people to be more present, to be more receptive to those things that come in, that are many miracles that happen to us every day.
It's yes. I was raised quite differently, even though I was raised here in the Western world. And my dad shared many things with me that would happen, that has happened already. And this would be back when I was a teen. I'll be 68 here soon, very, very, very soon. And so I was raised to think different, to think outside the box, which is normal for me. My dad always taught me, don't trust any institution till you test the waters spiritually and do your research. And this was before computers, do your research and then decide. Don't be back then he would say puppet. Don't be a puppet of society. That was his words that he would use. But one of the things, just listening, doing ceremony, it tunes you in. It tunes me in. Even when I was praying with Sister Corn earlier this morning and a little bit ago, it tunes you into incredible energies, high energies for me. And last March of 2020, going through what we're all going through, I was told, spend most of your time on the hill. Use this time for a sabbatical. And we're not social gatherers. I was told, don't go out and eat, spend the time praying, meditate. And a lot of people don't want to cut those strings. Like my whole life, I know it sounds crazy to you. I've seen 9 movies on the big screen. I haven't seen the 10th one, just 9. So I've been away from a lot of that flow of the Western energies and around more of Momma Earth energies. And again, like Kat had mentioned, I get a lot of news from creation, from Earth, from the trees, especially from the sky. Things are told to me and then later confirmed to me. But I was told back in March, again, a year ago, just stay home, meditate. We only go out like for groceries. And I do most of the home repair, if I got to go get a part or something like that. And we just stay home. And I've always loved my solitude. And the wife and I, we've always been close. In the last year and a half, it's amazing how spiritual our relationship has become. And, I had this, I call it mystical mini spiritual stroke in July. And they put me on a cardiac diet, okay? 5 grams of fat per meal. And we've come to cherish this. I've lost almost 50 pounds. And just being with her and this simple eating, it's just, I can't describe it. It's pure love coming in. That's a higher love. And we've been close all of our marriage. It's just amazing what's happening to our marriage, just being here on the hill and being us. I still talk to people and do the things that I do on Facebook and Instagram. But being raised that way helps. I was raised to watch the culture things. Did that help?
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
This is the point in the show where I just wanted to have a legal petition of being able to be adopted by Rev Ned and his wife and just hang out on that hill for the rest of my time, because it just sounds so, you're just breathing with the oneness. Mr. Preston, would you like to hop in, sir?
Yeah, yeah. I loved what you said, Linda. It's like connecting to the mystical, because I think that's so important. That's our true state. That's what we are meant to live, by. And I think, yeah, just listening, like you said, Doug, is super important. And just walking around barefoot on the grass, connecting to nature, hugging a tree. We are supposed, we're supposed to be with nature because that's who we are. And I want to jump off on a little question here because one thing that just really fascinates me about your life story is how you've explored so many different denominations, dozens, 40, 50 denominations. And that's fascinating to me because it reminds me of the story of Stalking Wolf, who's a Native American scout teacher who taught Tom Brown, who started the largest wilderness school. And it was Stalking Wolf's life mission to sort of study all the different religions and see what they had in common. And it turned out to be meditation and prayer and a few other things. I'm wondering what you found with all these different denominations. What was the main theme that brought them all together, the commonality? What did all exploring all these different things teach you about the different pathways that people come towards, truth and love?
Great question. Can you all see me? My screen just went blank. I wasn't doing anything. Can you see me?
We can see you, and it's common on this show, to be quite honest. Mine goes black often.
Just look down below, make sure you have your Zoom icon clicked. So
I was sitting here enjoying the other adorable face talk, and it just went boom.
Do you see down below the blue icon with the white video symbol in it on the down lower bar?
Looks like a camera.
Looks like a camera. Or you could just say looks like a camera. Thank you, Linda. She's like, or
it looks like a white camera in a little blue box at the very bottom of the screen.
I'm hitting it, but nothing's happening.
It's on Zoom. Kat, it's doing what it did with me when we had high energy and I had to pretend I could see everyone.
Biscuits. Can you?
So for those that are new to the show, when we get all this energy going, we tend to have technical difficulties. And one of those technical difficulties is that sometimes, at least with me, my screen goes completely black. So I have to pretend I can see everyone.
You have to vibe our energy. It's where you turn your empath on to high and just feel our faces. Feel our faces, Mr. Ned.
Well,
Dolly,
I want to answer this question.
Dolly says, tap your space bar.
Tap my space bar. The one in my head or on the... wait a minute. Let me get out. Let's see.
Tap the space bar on your keyboard.
I did.
Can you see us yet?
No.
She says it's timing out. It shouldn't be timing out, but
maybe that's what happened. Let me try. Let's see.
If all else fails, you can go out and come back in and we'll chat, but we'll talk about you in your absence.
That's true. If you wanted to do that, I don't want to lose precious time.
No.
But let me go ahead and answer Preston's question. If you can still see me.
Yes, we see you.
That was a great question. Other adorable face. Because a lot of people have asked me that, because I've been in many worlds, been in all kinds of different earth ceremonies. I've met people from around the globe that are earth people, and all these. It really has. It's been a little over 44 different denominations I was involved in, still doing the ceremonies, and the common connection is, and this is why I was told to start teaching on this 38 years ago. It was pure love and light. The fear is gone. In the ceremonies, there's there's no fear. The near-death experience, no fear. This hospital experience, or shouldn't probably be here, no fear. It was pure love. And that energy around the little ones, the angelic ones that came during the one ceremony that I shared with Kat that happened last September in what we call the meadow, one of my friend's house. Pure love. You know, the ones that we've had, the Palladians, pure love. And I would say it's this pure love coming from so many different directions, from the Earth Mother, pure love, from the elements and working with the elements, for other people and for myself, and releasing ceremonies. I've learned to do a lot of releasing ceremonies before we start a ceremony, just to start getting rid of things so we can receive better. But to me, it was this total energy coming from so many directions of pure love, not dark energy, nothing trying to trick it. Pure love, it is amazing, which I know Kat wants to get into the near-death experience, which that happened November 29th, 2018, my third year, November 29th, 2018, my third year anniversary is coming up. So I had taught 36 years on agape love, pure love. And I thought I knew something. I'm scratching the desk. I was just scratching the surface of my experiences till I got in that up in the tunnel. I call it a portal. And it was just pure love. And that would be the connection, Preston, would be this pure love that I have felt from the cosmos, from the earth, from inner earth, from the little ones, especially the 5 that hang around with me. It's I would say it's this higher energy of pure love, light, and tranquility is wrapped around it, and gratitude. The gift of gratitude is gifted around it. Did that help? Other adorable face?
Yeah, I love that. I've always said love is the answer. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. So yeah, that's awesome. Love it.
I'm definitely moving in. Rev Ned, well, I wanted to say, but Preston, I feel like you also have, like, you straddle that. Like, I feel like you have been anchoring, you've been doing so much work in terms of living in the astral realms and being able to navigate, and it's like your backyard, like the astral realm is your backyard these days. And so it's exciting to have you on the show, because I think that you are going to have some insight or questions or perspectives to some of Rev Ned's experiences being in the portal. And one of the things is I wanted to ask Mr. Ned, the 5 beings, are these the five gnomes?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions here. Just bear with, because this is where the brain gets very curious. I want to know what they look like. And because we have these image of gnomes, and I want to know what a real gnome looks like. And then I want to know, well, I guess answer that one first, and then I'll ask my next one.
Well, they can come and go, which we'll find more about that. But they look very similar. My wife just bought.
If it looks like a yard gnome, I'm going to scream.
You can see my shirt hanging with my gnomies.
I can't see it. No, get up.
Hanging with gnomies.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
Hey, Kat, you got to stop talking so he can talk. So
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead and pop up.
Can you
pop up and
can you
talk
see
and say that again, Mr. Ned? Sorry.
Oh,
I'll mute myself.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it now.
My wife has bought a fleet of these for me. She even bought me this here recently, and it's back there on the back wall. But when they appear to me, most of the time, a lot of times it's just energy, but sometimes they appear very similar to this. One day I work out at the kitchen table. When I mean workout, I study, I pray, I write. And I looked, and there was one dressed in red like Santa Claus. This was like about a year ago. It was doing this on our deck. I giggled and laughed, and they showed up again. I was choking. I've had a swallowing disorder for years. which has been so much better since I came out of the hospital in July. And they came and took care of me. I have a touch light where you touch and you can go on low, medium, high, off. They use that all the time to communicate with me. They're jokesters, they're tricksters, but they're so loving and they're so supportive. But similar to this. You can see it. What happened to the sound?
Yeah. It's no,
Yes.
we're
we can hear. We're looking. We can. He's so cute. He reminds me of Scandinavian gnomes.
Yes.
I remember my sister gave me a book of hand-drawn Scandinavian gnomes when I was a kid, and I think I still have it somewhere. I loved it.
It's
and that's
adorable.
Very much part of their culture.
Yes, it is.
All right, so I'm gonna grab the reins here for a minute, and because I want to get to the NDE part so people can get to some of your experiences and also to kind of do some clarification. So I'm going to do a little brief rundown of your NDE, kind of do like I'll encapsulate it and then we'll hop in. Does that sound good to you, sir?
Sounds very, very good.
Okay. And then you can also make corrections or expand, etc. But check out Jeff Marr's podcast because Mr. Ned does go into depth with it there. So basically, from what I understand, you were in. Well, the gnomes came up to you and told you that there are dark church entities that are seeking to cause you great harm. And lo and behold, when you were out to eat with your wife and daughter, a dark entity did seize you actually by the inner throat and suffocated you. And the medics that arrived, they're trying to think you have something lodged in your throat. The people, I guess your family thinks something's lodged in your throat. Your daughter knows better. Sunshine kid knows better. She knows it's a spiritual attack. And then, but it does take you down, like it does when they go to put the defibrillator on you. That's when you go out of your body and go into the portal. So that's kind of like the thing of this. One thing I want to ask about that is, why do they call them the dark church entities? Because these are what we would call demonic forces. And hopefully YouTube doesn't have any weird things around that word, but you call them demonic forces. And why would the gnomes call them dark church entities? Why are they related to the church?
Good question. Again, when I was sitting there at the table and they just popped in, the 5 of them, and that's what they said. They said the dark energies desire to destroy you.
Dark church and energies, yeah.
Energies, yeah. And I can understand from their perspective why they would say that, but there's being around so many different denominations and churches. I've seen so many things. I'm not saying every church, but I've seen darkness, if you want to call them demonic things, flying around inside, outside. One night we had a men's gathering years ago. One was flying around outside, and some saw it, some didn't, of course. And it's those. They do not, any of this darkness, however you want to label it, cosmic cousins, dark ones, the demons, I know for a fact they do not like pure love. They don't like this energy of me talking about it, teaching about it, pure light, living in peace and tranquility and gratitude. Because I've been attacked many times. My life's been threatened many times. And I've carried a bullet around the car for a couple of years where I was even shot at. And I was told by the spiritual world it was a person that went to a particular church. So they do not like this positive energy of love, being yourself, being independent. You're connected, but I know that we're much higher beings than most of us are taught or raised with. We're amazing what we can do, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I remember there was a teaching of Yeshua, tell this mountain to go and to go. But I came across an old as seen writing in an article. And what they said is when you take your heart energy that's transforming, and it has so many neurons, you take your mind energy, your thoughts, and you put them together as one in love and light, it's amazing what happens. And this is what I try to do every day. And the darkness, whatever you want to describe it, however you want to describe it, does not like these higher energies. And again, that's one reason why I was taught to be careful about, the Western culture and things to be involved in. And then, little by little, I've taken things out of that, and it's brought more positive, more divine, more cosmic energies in. And I know I have a purpose, but I started writing a book on this love in the 80s with a doctoral student from English. We started it, but he left. He left to go into full-time ministry. And now I know why we didn't finish that book. But I just love sitting here on the hill. I really do. Just sitting here on the hill, and I still do teachings and do this and communicate and help people and counsel people. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, I guess specifically that was a good. You're very much an educator, and you take us into these stories where I feel like I'm there with you. So then I have to pull back and try to remember my question. But yeah, in terms of it being dark church entities, it sounds like that's just kind of like a shortcut to describe what they are. It's like you understand what they're saying when they say that, because you could say demonic or you could say dark church entities. Because it is specifically associated to that religion, when you say demonic. So what you want to say, Miss Linda?
I know, you can tell that I'm just like, I've had this chicken and the egg kind of thought for a long time with organized religions, in that what people see as demonic or see as different forces, is it because they're taught about those and that fear is instigated and instilled within the church? So like you definitely see more in, say, a Catholic upbringing of demonic possession than you do in some other religions. So is it the psyche creating that negative force, and that's why it's brought in as church demons? Or
I would say
church demons. I like that.
Yes, church demons. And I've seen many of them, but I've seen these dark entities and other people from other faiths around the world. And a lot of it has to do being taught fear. You're nothing, you're nobody, you're this or that. We're going to throw fear. Think how our culture uses fear. Religions use fear.
mm-hmm.
I was involved. I was a chaplain, spiritual chaplain for a high school football team our sons played on for 5 years. And those coaches use fear. And most of them went to church, but they used fear to motivate. I would use the opposite in our weekly gatherings that we had, and to operate out of love, how to motivate them, how to do better in the weight room. The cheerleaders started coming, and their friends started coming to this group, and they all started excelling because they were motivated by love. And fear is like putting chains and straps around you that you're grounded to, I don't know, you could say lower 3D energies. And I've seen that not just within Christianity. I've seen it in Islam. I've met so many beautiful Muslims from around the world. I've seen people in the native path that are these fears, because that's a tool they use as a fear. So when you break out of that fear mode, whether it's from parents, whether it's teachers, education uses fear a lot, and you break out of that mode and you find out, man, I'm a being, I'm a star being, I'm amazing. I have amazing things. I came here for an incredible divine purposes and divine reasons. And I see so many people, though. I see a lot of people have been waking up the last year and a half and 2 years from the fear, from the fear, knowing that there's more. But a lot of people don't know how to access that more, because they still have lots of things they have to deal with within here and within here, in our essence. And if you're bombarded all the time with the Western news, Western radio, with that type of negativity, it can get, and woman, it can get you down. It really, really, really can. And I mean, spiritually working out of lower energies, but we were meant for incredible, incredible divine purposes, cosmic purposes, really.
And what advice do you have for people as they start having more light, more love, more radiance, if they feel like they are under attack? Like, how do you talk to people about protecting themselves?
Like we started out with putting the love and the light. Every time we go out in a vehicle, we will do that. But giving thanks, I give thanks all the time. I just recorded something about gratitude. I haven't posted it yet. But it depends on the individual. Everybody's on their own spiritual path, even though we're all together as one. And sometimes I'll use the elements. It just depends on where they're at spiritually, where they're at religiously, with their connections, trying to be, humble and be gentle and to be soft when I'm sharing with them, because that comes up a lot when people have these problems. And a lot of them come from church-going folks, as you had mentioned earlier. So I use what they know and just expand it about the love and the light. And again, doing releasing. If I know this person's connected to the element of water, all of us are usually connected to one of the elements really, really close. And some of my friends are used to that now. Sometimes it'll be the earth, sometimes it'll be fire. We'll get a candle and release things in the candle. They're in one place, I'm in another, but we both have candles. So I do that. It just depends on the individual person, what I know of their background. And if I don't, and it's somebody new, which I've picked up a lot of new people here in the last year and a half, just to be friends and do video chats with, then I have to pray and think and listen to what I need to share with them. I hope that helped, Linda.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I would like to underscore that, just because I think that's the best advice you could give anybody, is just releasing the fear. It's exhausting to live in a state of fear. It is just so much work. I remember following the death of my mother, I was very fear-based. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. This is horrifying. What kind of a universe is this? Who would do this to us? And that's when I started having out-of-body experiences and realizing, oh, well, death is actually a lie. We are immortal. There is no such thing. It's like walking through a doorway. The universe is actually completely safe. And again, love is the answer. So yeah, I'm just so glad you brought that up, because fear is such a lie. It really is. There's no need for it. And I would say, yeah, if you are living in fear, face your fear. Whatever is really scaring you, go to it, run towards it and face it head on, and you will see there's nothing to be afraid of.
That's such great advice, Preston.
That's very adorable. That's great. A lot of times when I'm teaching on the blackboard or something, I'll put fear, F-E-A-R. That's where most fear comes from. Listening. A lot of people get fear from, again, listening from whatever, parents, coaches, teachers.
External.
Yes. And then they process that, and then things happen within them, in their heart and their mind. And then you get this, and then you get this. But there's a lot of people in our world right now living in fear. I sense it. I hear Momma Earth talking about it.
Yeah, I want also, this is a good thing to let people know that down below I do have Rev Ned's YouTube link, not YouTube, sorry, Facebook link. His Facebook link, it is where he basically just comes on and shares stories of things he's learning. It's like he is giving a sermon, as it were, as he's the reverend, but it's just so like, take your hand, walk into nature and breathe with nature with me for a minute, and let's listen and hear what she has to say. And here's the revelation. So I've listened to a couple of those, and they're it's like this with hanging out with Rev Ned. So I wanted to then, if we could get into what you call the portal, Mr. Ned,
Yes.
and talk about why do you call it a portal? What is your experience of it? Because let's say you go from your body, just take us from where you go to the body into what you call the portal, and just turn the lights on for us and share with us what you see.
One of the reasons, before I get into the portal, that I call it a portal is through a lot of native ceremonies that has happened, which I've shared with you, where I've been taken out somewhere, I don't know where, and I'm brought back. That's happened a couple times, and it was like, man, this is amazing. So when I get up there, I'm in the back of a life squad, like you said, and all the last words, they cut my brand new long blue t-shirt or long sleeve shirt I had on. I remember that. I said, man, they're cutting my shirt out. And then they said, clear. And then I felt that. And that's when I left. And the next thing I know, I'm up in the portal, the tunnel. And so much peace, tranquility, pure love. It was like a circle, huge, like beautiful clouds, not from this world. And it was going in what we call a Heyoka direction, counterclockwise. And I'm walking in this love. And remember, I've taught agape, pure love, unconditional love, no strings attached, no conditions have to be met, for 36 years. And here I am in the very presence of pure love. I can remember having like my hands in my pocket and whistling. I was so amazed at what I was feeling, what I was sensing from my feet, my spiritual senses that I was feeling. And I could see this incredible light. And I've seen glimpses of it in native ceremony, but it was so bright at the end. And I just kept walking. And then all of a sudden, and I was, I love the directions. I looked to the south part of this portal, and there's this Hall of Fame pictures, thousands of pictures up there, and 5 of them are lit up. There's a lady, ma'am, on the left side, a priest in the middle, and on the right side, a lady and a man. The lady and the man, I was told, were the ones that people see around me during ceremonies. They stand behind me and protect me and watch over me. It's many ceremonies, drumming circles. This couple, they said they're relation from way back, relatives from way back. And the couple that was to the right on this picture of 5, and remember, it's just them lit up, same, but I haven't met them in this dimension. But they are also protectors, guides, energy helpers. The man in the middle was a priest that I met over a weekend in Michigan at a place called Cross in the Woods. And I went in to talk to this man. He was in his 80s. He had the little Franciscan beanie cap. He had his rosary and his cane. And I wasn't walking very good. I actually had my scooter, pulled it up to the door, got my cane. When he touched me, he would touch me in love. And this energy, I got goosebumps now. He says, I have something for you. And it was like this divine voice and eyes and touch were touching me, touching my essence. Like of all the people I've ever been, it was amazing. And he did his heart. I want to start crying. He touched his heart. And he said, I'm preparing to die, to cross over. And it's a beautiful thing. And he touched me again, and this energy went zap through me. And he says, you need to prepare to die. This was 1.5 years before it actually happened. So that's the man, the priest, that was in the middle picture. So I'm looking at these 5 people and then going, this is amazing. I'm around people that I've experienced, at least 3 of them from this world, 1 physical, 2 in the spiritual, mystical realms. And at that point, I look back behind me, which is the east. I look behind me, and there is the 5 little ones, the Nomies, my homie Nomies, and they're in a Heyoka circle holding hands, reversing the energies. And pure love was coming from them. So I step a little bit more towards the light, which would be the north. I'm walking towards this light. Something says, turn around again. And I turn around, and my Navajo friend, kind of like in a cartoon form, is up there. Our daughter had called him and said, Dad is not in his body. Can you help? And he works under a holy man out there. And he got through, and he was up in the tunnel telling me to get, because sometimes he uses cuss words, but he didn't. He said, get your rear back here right now, like that. This Navajo friend of mine. So I look back, and then I walked a little bit more, and then this divine voice said, if you go another inch, you will never return to your body. You're on to your next destination. So I'm processing all this energy I'm feeling through my feet, through my being, my spiritual body. And I take one more look back. I see the pictures on the wall. I see the Nomis in a Heyoka direction. My friend is gone at that point, and something says, turn around. Turn around. So as soon as I turned around, I saw the Nomis. I went, I could feel it. I went back into my body. And to be honest with you, I thought I was in a coffin because my body was still in the hospital, but they did everything. It blew them away. It was too mystical for it. It blew them away because I wasn't there for 3 hours. But when I came back into my body, I'm like this. I'm in this box. And I said, God, where am I? And this sweet feminine voice says, I was in a machine getting x-rays of my chest. And she said, you're at McCullough Hyde Hospital. And it was like, what the sweetest voice I ever heard. Because I knew I wanted to come back, that I had more to do. But the other part, when I came back, I couldn't walk. I couldn't hardly talk. It took me forever to get a sentence out. So our daughter, Sunshine Kid, Hannah, and another friend that has the meadow where we've had incredible ceremonies, fixed something up. My Navajo friend that showed up in the portal the week before, we were leaving a ceremony at the Grove, and he stops. His wife gets out and gives me this paper bag wrapped up. And he says, I was told to give this Navajo medicine. I mean, it's like 2 a.m. We're going home from ceremony. So I brought that home. This was the weekend before. And something told Hannah and our friend Meadow Walker to go home, fix this up the way it was supposed to. The doctor, it was medicine. It was Navajo medicine. Tie me down, because I like to fly off. They would tie me down with red cloths, and the whole family came and held me down, and they applied this medicine all over me while Meadow Walker was blowing a feather. And very, very powerful woman. And that was around 5, 6, 6:30 in the evening. And after the ceremony, they all went home except my wife. And all of a sudden, this energy came. I got up in bed, with my back against the back of the bed. I said, I'm fine. And she looked at me. I said, you don't have to spend the night again. I'm fine. You can go home. And she stayed at 3 or 4 more hours. I kept getting better and better and better. It blew away the speech pathologist that came, the physical therapist that came, the occupational therapist that came. The doctor sat down. He came in that the next morning and said, what happened? Can you tell me what? This whole thing is mystical. What happened? What happened to you? Why are you better when just a few hours ago you weren't? So I tried to explain. I mean, he spent 20 minutes listening and asking for questions. And it was just an amazing, amazing experience of pure love, pure light. And again, wrapped in tranquility, and gratitude.
So to clarify, so you became like whatever was not firing correctly in your body came back into wholeness during the ceremony.
Yes. Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That is incredible. It
Yes.
makes me think so much about this whole thing. You're so right, Linda, wanting to explore the Native American tradition and healing, because it makes me think of Drew Banke as well, and this magic that is accessible to us, and it's spirit magic, and it's connecting to the earth, and it's connecting to the oneness, it's connecting to the stars, all of it, and letting it align and do the magic of healing. This is just so beautiful.
I will say, even with the ceremonies, I still feel very close to Yahushua, to Yeshua, and to Mary. I still feel very, very, very close. I've had mystical experience, especially with Mama Mary, touching me and healing me with a chronic Lyme. But when
Talk
I was
about that, share that story. I want to hear that.
Okay, when I was up in the portal, though, there was the only ones I saw is the ones I shared with you. I thought I'd see Yeshua as much as close as that I feel, because I used to teach the Hebrew roots. So I was bit by a spider 8.5 years ago, a brown recluse, and Revs, I'll doctor myself up. I'll use some native things and pray and use my energies and releasing, but I kept getting sicker. I passed out twice, and the second time I was rushed to the hospital because what it was doing was eating my flesh on my right arm and elbow. It was eating my flesh. It was disappearing. And I was in a hospital for 3 or 4 days. And I really believe Uncle Dave came up and gave me a very special stone. I have a bigger one. Can you see that? It's got a hole in it.
Yeah.
Well, we see this as male, the rock people, the stone people, and the hole is female, caused by many water that is female. I had one from and I won't share who it is, from a very, very well-known Lakota family. And he took it off like good people connected to there and gifted it to me. One of his most treasured sacred items. And he gave it to me. And in that passing, I really believe there was healing, because I know he was prayed up. I know he laid tobacco down before he came into the hospital, giving thanks to the spirits and to the higher entities. But from that experience, the chronic Lyme came out several weeks later. And my Lyme doctor said, you probably carried it around since you were a kid. This was the door. My immune system was so low from the spider bite. So I'm getting to your question about Mama Mary. So for up till this past hospital experience, I've used a cane, a rollator, and I have a little scooter that I've had to use, like if we would go into Walmart or flea market in the past. I couldn't walk. This particular time, we were at a Catholic church for Mass. We drove the other side of the county to go there. And I couldn't hardly make it. I mean, I could hardly walk. I really couldn't. I even to joke with my wife, I said, look at that old lady. She's walking faster than me. It took me forever to get into this church. And they have a statue of St. Francis. So I used to do plays about St. Francis. And I couldn't keep my eyes off St. Francis. And I saw Mama Mary statue up in the front. So after church, the wife took me over to St. Francis, and I said some prayers and mainly thank yous. Then I went up front where Mary was. And I remember putting my cane on my arm and just reaching up and touching her and looking at her, and she became alive. And this has happened before. She became alive. And she looked down at me with these eyes of pure love. It was amazing. And I left there. I started getting better and better. Our daughter was involved in the horse world and cowboy mounted shooting. And the following weekend, they couldn't believe, because I used to do a lot of teaching in the what's called cowboy mounted churches. And they couldn't believe I was running to help go put balloons up. It was like, what happened? What happened? And so I shared this story. But she's very dear to me and to the family. And so is, like I said, so is Yeshua. But that was that particular encounter where she became alive. And somebody gave me a picture of a church up in Ohio. Same thing happened. They actually had a camera and took a picture of Mary becoming alive. Did that help, Catman?
Yeah, it's just so magical. Yeah. Mr. Preston, what are your thoughts about Mother Mary? What's your knowledge about Mother Mary? I feel like she's somebody, because I want to expand it, because I'm like I've sensed her before when I was practicing mediumship, and it was like sense the presence, and I could feel her and I could identify her. I was like, oh, but I'm such a noob in other ways, and so I think it's interesting for people who are experiential compare their.
Oh, you cut out.
Yeah, you cut out.
Oh,
I'm trying to get on my phone. Is what I'm trying to do, because since I can't see all you beautiful faces.
I was just wondering if you want to go out and come back in, either one of you, and Preston and I can talk for a minute.
Well, am I back?
You are back, Pat.
You're back. You're back.
I'm. I won't go there.
Rev Ned, do you want to?
Do you want to leave and come
go out
back?
and come back in while we chat?
While Preston tells us about what he thinks about Mother Mary.
Yeah, let's do that.
So you want me to try to go back?
Go out and come back in. I'll let you back in.
I'll follow what your mojo says. You do what's right for you, Rev Ned. I'll miss you while you're gone if you choose to leave.
All right. Well, I will talk about Mother Mary for a second. And I will say, I'm not a religious guy. My parents never took me to church or anything like that. So I come from a completely non-religious viewpoint on this. But having studied UFOs and then ghosts and the paranormal and near-death experiences and all of this, eventually I did come around to Marian visions, and where people do see Mother Mary, and it's fascinating. And I feel like she is real. I mean, absolutely. I think Jesus was an enlightened entity, and Mary as well. She embodies love. And it's clear that a lot of people are having experiences with her.
Yes.
So I feel like this is something that's really wonderful and really special. And to have an experience with her is a huge blessing. And anyone who wants to just has to reach out, and you will definitely, I think, be in touch with these beautiful, enlightened entities of love. They're in every religion. And I knew a lady who had a near-death experience, and she met Jesus, and she's Jewish. She's not of that religion, and it completely freaked her out. So I'm just fascinated by this, and all the gnomes and the fairies and the kobolds and all these supernatural entities that are around us blows my mind. I had no idea that we were living in this kind of a universe where there's just a vast number of entities. I think we have a tendency to think of ourselves as, being on the top of the food chain, sort of, but no, we're just one of a huge family of entities on this planet. And look at the dolphins. They are as intelligent as us. People talk about, I want to meet an alien. I'm like, well, go look at a dolphin. There's another species you can communicate with telepathically. This is very common among contactees. And to hear you talking about all, animals and, all these different entities, I think this is important stuff. And this is how people will start to move along the pathway towards enlightenment. And yeah, Mary is cool. I love her.
You know, one of the things that may tie in some of the questions that you asked, when I was a kid, really little, our woods, and I wrote this to you, we had a tree after the cartoon character called Chip and Dale. It was burnt out, so we could climb way to 30, 40 feet up in the inside of the tree, the way it burned out. And as a kid, I would experience the divine feminine. Okay. We moved when I was 16 into a bigger woods where Walden Pond was at, divine feminine. But when I got more involved in church and other spiritualities, because I was around them every day at work, I missed the divine feminine. At ceremonies, it was always there. Within me, it's always there. And that was the key to me, was the divine feminine. That's why I've always felt close to Mama Mary. Several years ago, I was coming out of our bedroom, and our two dogs are sitting there looking at this gorgeous, beautiful, spiritual, feminine, divine energy. And I still think to today it was Mama Mary. But they were just sitting there, and this lady was talking to them. It was like, and she was glowing, you know, she was glowing. I thought, this is cool. You know, touching our fur babies like that. It was amazing. It was amazing. You okay, Linda?
I am. I'm listening, and I just felt some sadness within the comments, and it hit me a little, and that's what you were picking up on.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah. Judgments. People judging.
Yes, I've had that most all my 38 years. I've had a lot of that, but that goes with the turf. If you put yourself out there, share your experiences, it will. That's where a lot of the death threats have come in the past.
It's wild to me that you have, I guess, because we see you as such a gem, and so, but I guess people who are going to feel that you are blasphemous and are dangerous and are, you know, they're living through these distortions.
Removing fear is dangerous.
Yes.
Removing fear is dangerous? What do you mean?
Or someone who contains power through fear. Removing fear is dangerous.
Yeah, I see what you're
people
saying.
cling to their fear. They don't like to be faced with truth. It's uncomfortable. Waking up, you know, it's not always easy. It was hard for me, I know that, but I think it's important. When people judge you, I think it says more about them really than you.
Oh, 100. And it's indoctrination. Like people, you know, get indoctrinated through the schools, through church, through religion. And sometimes it's really enlivening indoctrination. Sometimes it's really damaging, depending on, you know, the spirit behind it all. I wanted, because we're at 11:14 my time. We've got 45 minutes left. Go ahead, Linda.
We have some questions about
yes.
Spirit guides, animals. So spirit animals, and would like to have Rev Ned's take on that and how people know who their spirit guides are. Can they have more than one? Can they change? I know I have 3, but I definitely have Raven as my number 1. And Preston Manatee is 1. And I, just like the dolphins, I've swam with manatees and had that psychic connection.
Wow.
Amazing.
I want to hear about that. A lot of people, I believe in angels. I've had experiences here in the house with angels. One of them's the one that told me a year right after I came home with that experience with the priest. An angel was sitting on the bed at night. Diane was sleeping and was dressed in white, like Western white clothes, and had its one leg over the other, he or she, and just, you ready to go? I've been asked that many times. Are you ready to go? And I said, no, not yet. But a lot of my, like people say, angelic guardians, It's more than just angels. Like you said, spirit animals, definitely little people, more than just the gnomes. And other higher entities have showed up to help me, to confirm, to teach. And I'm really not big. What is this? What kind of guide is this? You know, I just kind of go from day to day. I really do. What's going to happen today? It's like I get up, give thanks for everything, and stuff just happens because it's like there's no chains. You know, I've tried to release them all that's bound me up like canvas. I see people with their tightening it up. And so every day is just an amazing spiritual divine experience of pure love and light. But they're everywhere and everyone has them. But again, it's being sensitive to these higher energies. And I believe the more we get away from these lower energies, okay, of our culture, that it will expand. But it, like Preston says, it takes a lot of inner work here and here. And the releasing that I do really helps. Just sitting around the fire, just me, and releasing things. I like cedar wood. I'll use cedar wood a lot. And I'll put things in there to get rid of negativity, whatever it may be, or something I saw, or I can't get rid of it, you know, during the day, or something I heard. I always do release and ceremonies. I use a shower. There's an old, this is very helpful for me. There's an old Cherokee tradition, and I have a Cherokee grandmother who watches over me from down in North Carolina. They would create something, make something, kind of like my mic cover. But they would put it either as a clothing, they would go into it. It has to be a moving stream, kind of like a mikvah in Judaism. And they would release this into the water. And there'd be a Cherokee priest down around the river bend or down straight, pick them up, dry them out, burn them, or bury them. I do that in the shower all the time. I use the shower to release things in here and the heart. You're getting cleansed physically. You can be cleansed spiritually. So I use the element of water quite a bit. That's a big help for me. It really is. I do that. I won't say every day, but maybe 6 out of 7 days I will.
I think that's my attraction here to Oregon, being the rain and the ocean. There's water movement everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of people talk about the water spirits. You just reminded me of I forget his name, but it was a very powerful, famous psychic who said he had to take 2 showers a day just to, keep, he's super empathetic. And that was his only real way of, freeing himself from all these energies. Water is a powerful, powerful thing. We are made of water.
Very, yes.
There's that book by, what's his name? Emoto. How if you can put love into water, you can actually make it living water. So yeah, love the whole water thing is, we can talk about it for hours.
Adorable face. I agree with you. When I'm in the shower, I do that a lot. I visualize my water within me connecting to the water. And it's very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. Very cleansing. Very cleansing. Awesome. Cool. This is amazing. Amazing.
It's beautiful. You've got so much to teach. I wanted to ask Preston real quick because it was a question from one of our peeps. They wanted to know, who are the ETs behind you, Mr. Preston?
Oh, these are the Greys. This is from an actual case. I've been doing a lot of, I just felt compelled to start drawing ETs for whatever reason. I
wonder why.
Cousins. Cousins.
So this is a story from a story that you are, or an interview that you've done recently, and you've drawn images from the interview?
Yep. I've been trying to put out my research, and so I'm illustrating a lot of these cases just to help people, visualize what people are seeing. And it's very therapeutic drawing. So
what? And it's nice that you give visuals. And if for people, I think you should all know who Preston is, but if you don't, of course, he has his own channel on YouTube. And he relates these stories, and he's now drawing his own images. His sister also, or sister-in-law rather, has drawn many images for him. But if you haven't checked out his channel, you really give it a go, because he's also someone that you listen to him and it's just very relaxing. Like you're hanging out, you can have a cup of tea, you can be laying in bed with your laptop and just like listen to him and go to another world. So I recommend. So that's a good pivot point in terms of where Mr. Rev Ned has had experiences with ETs. And let's transition to what we call the Greys. I think there's a whole list of different beings that fall under the Greys. Would you agree, Mr. Preston? Like the Greys, that's like saying the people. It's like it's not really specific, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm very eager to hear about the ETs, because that's
Okay.
my thing.
That's your
yeah.
jam. Yeah, that's your jam. All right, Mr. Rev Ned, you take it away.
The mine haven't been like you hear so many people being zoomed up on a ship, which is possible, could have happened. I don't recall that. Have happened at ceremonies. I was facilitating in the meadow, and we were giving thanks to the Pleiadians and the positive cosmic cousins, of all the things that they have done. And all of a sudden, from the Pleiades direction that evening, this I would call it a shooting star, almost looked like they was going to go on the hill and hit their house. It was, and we could feel the energy of love. It wasn't just a shooting. There was things with it. We were actually doing a closing. I was doing the closing, and this happened. I shared with you about the Navajo, the bear ceremony that we were doing. And I was asked to remarry, and that energy of a bear ceremony, remarry Hannah and Matt. And they were by the sacred fire, and I had asked, I was sitting over by the altar, and I asked for this energy to come down. And it was not from this world. This energy came down around just them. Pure love, pure light. And then one of the stories I shared, I was sitting at the table one night, and I looked up or looked across, and there's this huge, my spirit said Pleiadian, good looking, I don't know, Nordic type of being. It was just pure love. And it was confirmation. It wasn't like we had this great, just confirmation. Then it was a week or two later, our son, who lives an hour away, was spending the night with his wife and 3 children. He comes up on Sunday morning and he says, Dad, I saw this incredible, good looking, tall being on the back deck, looking in the back door, looking at you. Did that happen? Did that happen? I said, yes, it did. And that was last year. And then I was sitting on the deck in the fall, which I always do at night. And I thought it was my wife coming in through what we call the West Gate. And it was this large energy. I couldn't see anything, but I could sense it, feel it, see it with my spiritual eyes. And I felt it go up on the deck, and it sat there for about an hour. And again, it was all about confirmation. I believe what I've been a little told about it, because I'm not all that inquisitive. It just stuff happens, and I go with the flow. But it was, again, about confirmation, about pure love and light coming from so many different directions. And it was very, very, very helpful, very, very helpful. I've had, in the hospital experience, I had, I don't know, people, I got little Merkabas everywhere. I was playing oracle music. I was in this chair, I'm not supposed to get up, alarms on the chair, so I can reach the computer. I'm playing oracle music on this divine music. Sounds like angels, which I've heard angels sing. And this entity comes to the window. I'm on the 5th floor looking north and northwest. And it's like 4 green things enclosed. And it was pure love. And I've experienced this in the house, but it was more of a white kind of cloud that came into the room and hovered over our table, and one of our dogs saw it. But that would be, it's not like I have a lot of contacts like a lot of your guests have. And they were for confirmation for me that you do what you're doing, stay on this love path, the light path.
Yeah.
It was confirmation.
It's so beautiful. It sounds like it's kind of like your star kin and whatever, because we're all related in some form or some fashion. It more sounds like they're like thumbs up, you're doing
Yes,
awesome.
exactly.
And they do that through just being radiating love. I wanted to say, could you specify the three beings that came to the window? That you said three green beings came to the window?
And I'm sorry, it was they kind of remind me of incredible four-leaf clovers. They were green like that, like a plant.
Okay.
They were I can go in too high. They were framed in, and they were right by the window, and they came in. And that's
Did they
when
have
part of the healing
heads? Did they have
process.
heads with eyes? I just can't get a
No,
grasp on what they look
just
like.
energy. When
Just
they
energy forms.
transformed from the outside to the inside, it was energy. And I was in the hospital for 13 days with this stroke. And the room was always full of love. The doctor, an Indian doctor would come in. I called her Dr. Gold. Her name in her language means golden or golden. And she would come in and start crying. She says, "What is this?" I said, "It's love. It's love." People would come in and start crying, but this energy, that's when my healing started. I left the hospital. I haven't used a cane, rollator, the scooter since I came home from July 20th when they sent me home. And that was my wife's birthday. They sent me home on her birthday. And then next day I jumped on, when you have a stroke, you're not supposed to do anything,
Right.
They said, cut the yard. So I jumped on our 54-inch zero turn and drove. I could duck under the trees better than I ever could. And it's been it's been quite amazing. It really has.
So you had all of these beings just surround you and come visit you. And basically, as you connected in this healing love with them, you healed. It was just like, love is love. So whatever this is, that's not love, bye-bye, out of body. You just can't be there now. Am I getting that right?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. The day before, a chaplain came into the hospital, and he came in and pulled a chair up. I'm laying in bed, still kind of half out of it. I mean, the first few days, I didn't know who my family was. I didn't know where I was at. I couldn't write. I couldn't text. I didn't know what that black thing on the wall at the time was. They call a clock. I was just out of it, but I kept getting little bits of improvement. But when this guy came in, his name was Fred, former Muslim who became a Christian. He sat down and we were talking about big things, way big things. He stayed for an hour and a half, which is unusual for a chaplain. The more we talked, I noticed this energy was being generated in the room. And it was pure love and pure light. It was amazing. And when this doctor, I call her Dr. Gold, came in, Fred excused himself, and that's when she started crying. She says, "What's in this room?" And she follows her Hindu faith. She says, "What is in this room?" I said, "It's pure love." I said, "It's the pure love of God." And every time she would come in and come over by me, even with a wife there, she'd get teary-eyed. It happened to nurses. It happened to doctors. It was the most mystical thing. It was almost much more mystical than my near-death experience. It was just amazing. Just amazing. That was in July. It was July.
Yeah, because that all happened in the physical as opposed to so you had, who else visited you in the time of the stroke? Because you had the beings come in through the window. I'm sorry.
I'll back up. That day, my wife knew I was just out of it. I was just doing strange things. And she had enough. This was at 5 something, 6 something. She says, "You're going to the hospital." She was a nurse for 44 years. "You're going to the hospital. Something's wrong with you." Because I'd sit in a chair and just do this. So she threw me a T-shirt to put on while she's running around. And she's knowing we're going to be staying the night at the hospital. She was told that. So she should run around taking care of all the critters in the house. She throws me this clean shirt to put on. Well, I take my old dirty shirt off, put it right back on. She comes in and corrects me, so I had to switch that. She puts on gives me a clean pair of underwear, and I put them on. But later, when she found out I was in the hospital, I didn't take the old ones off. I just slipped them over. I had 2 color different shoes going to the hospital. I wear Crocs all the time. And when I was getting ready, when I thought I was dressed and I was carrying my old dirty T-shirt like a blankie, like a kid would, or some of us adults do, when we're sleeping. And I go down the steps here. It's right behind me, and something picked me up, which I've had these struggles. This dark energy, kind of looked like a Sakar, other adorable face, picked me up, and this has happened before. Slammed
What's a
me down.
Sakar? What's a Sakar?
We'll let the pro here. I'm gonna sit. Wait a minute. I was slammed down, picked up, slammed down. See this? It's kind of a rock. There's actually a piece of it missing. My head hit this rock and busted it when I was thrown down the second time. And something came of light. I saw this
What's
image.
a Sakara? What's a Sakara?
Preston, do you want to share?
You're gonna...
They look reptilian. They look just like paintings the church would do of the devil. Looks just like that. And I've had rumblings with them in the past, so this wasn't anything new. But this image of love and light, it was a being. I didn't see anything. It was like I couldn't touch it. And when I was down on the ground, I saw this image come, and this darkness left. And I finally made it in the car, and the wife took me to the hospital. And I don't remember anything till maybe 2 or 3 days later in the hospital, when all these energies started kicking in.
What was the image that came down? You said something came down.
During the near-death experience?
No, like you said that after this being threw you down.
Oh, yes.
And this other being came through. What was your
pure love and pure light?
You didn't
And
have
it left.
Okay.
Okay. It's like I could almost hear it. It left. It was gone. It was pure love and pure light. And that whole hospital stay, I was even told things. The family, there was a gift shop in the hospital, and they got me a collection of 5 nomis for the 5 from the near death and that were up in the portal. But it was the most amazing 13 days of experiences that I had.
So did you have other beings then visit you during that time?
I was listening to this oracle music on the computer, and I had it up pretty loud when this energy came to the window, and there was energy just from that stirring. And I was praying, trying to be one with all that is. I could see the star set every night because I was up on the 5th floor and nothing to block it. Great vision. But there was music in that energy, energy in that music. And it was all just kind of blended. It was just, it's really hard to describe, but I'm here like because of it.
You were between worlds. It sounds like you were actually in a portal. It sounds like you created a portal is what you did.
Yes.
Yeah. That's okay.
It was amazing. It was amazing energy. It really was.
What is this oracle music that you're talking about?
It's like,
is it on a CD? Is it on YouTube? Is it something that you're creating?
YouTube. It sounds like, to me, it sounds like angels singing, which I've heard here and in ceremony, just incredible voices. I've heard it in a couple of Christian churches. There's one that so many of these kind of things happened in this particular church. And then they would let me come and talk a lot, and just this angelic singing. That's what it reminds me of. And there's a lot of people out there doing it.
Okay. In our Facebook group, will you share some links to that so our Facebook family can?
Sure.
They're not just our Facebook families, but they're,
right.
what I'm saying. But yeah, if you'd share that with them there, that would be great. So people can have experiences firsthand, including myself. That's fantastic. All right, Miss Linda or Mr. Preston, do you have any reflections at this juncture, or do we have any questions from the audience, Miss Linda?
Well, we have one person that really wants you to know that you are a contactee. So just passing.
He's like, yeah.
Thank you.
He's like,
just so you know.
Thank you. Tell her thank you.
Yes. And one of the reflections I've got is that I think sometimes we forget that we have, or at least I know sometimes I forget that there's a whole team, cosmic team, spiritual team out there to help support us at all times. And even when it feels like we're under attack, they're there for us. And we don't have to do this alone. And I think that's a huge thing, because that fear that can come up, or that disconnect that we may feel, isn't, that disconnect is an illusion. We're there. They're here. We're all one. And so I think for me, it's just, you've really driven home that you've got this support system, that we all have this support system here for us. And that we've got our cosmic brothers and sisters that are here on the show with us. I consider Kat and Preston and now you part of my support system, everyone who's watching. But we also have that spiritual and ET support system. Preston, what about you?
Yeah, you were I'm kind of answered it the same way I was going to answer. I find it fascinating that once a person starts to wake up, once they start shining their light, they attract all kinds of beings. And I think this is sort of the rule rather than the exception. When someone starts having angelic experiences, they will start having ET experiences. Or when someone starts having ET experiences, they start having, encounters with spirits and angels. And when your light shines, you're opened up to those other realms, and you start to really be able to perceive all of this stuff. And I would also add that, because people say, "Oh, I've never had any paranormal experiences." Well, you do, and we all are on some level contactees. We all have spirit guides. We all have all of this stuff all around us at all times. It's, I think, a matter of becoming aware of it. But I think truly we are all a part of this universe, an integral, indivisible part of this universe. Like you said, Linda, we are all one. And that means we are all contactees. We truly are. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful gift, indescribable, to be a part of this universe. And we are all one. I think that's the real conclusion to all of this. We are all part of a huge family. It's awesome.
And I just want to add one more thing, that I absolutely love the walk in gratitude. To me, that's part of that walk of grace that I talk about.
Yes.
It's the micro moments of miracles. Every day I look at the little micro moments of miracles and say thank you in gratitude. I'm saying thank you all day long. And it makes such a difference in my life, because, we're not perfect, and I'll have down days, but I pop back so quickly because I have that habit now of looking and experiencing and observing everything I can find to be grateful for. And it's not being Pollyannic, it's being sincerely letting my heart grow with each gratitude. And when something really awesome happens, I sit there and say, yes, thank you, more, please.
Wow. Can I share one more thing about my
Oh, no, sir, you gotta go. All right, thanks, everyone. No, of course you
love
can.
you all.
Please.
When I started going to a new family doctor at the beginning of the year, and she, because of the line, I've had arthritis since I was a kid. She wanted me to go to the heart doctor, neurologist. So I went to this neurologist, and I loved her. She's from Bosnia-Herzegovina. Amazing lady, amazing. And I tried to get, the first time I met her, she's very professional. I was like, get rid of that stuff. Let's talk, let's talk. So she was my neurologist during my stroke. And I went for an after visit. And I had lost 30 pounds in the hospital when they put me on this diet in that short period of time. And so I didn't have a cane, didn't have my rollator, and she blew her away. I thought she was going to start crying. And she got up after she did all the testing. She was getting ready to leave. And she pointed at me and she says, I'm a neurologist. It's my business. None of your tests showed that you had a stroke. None. But I know you had a stroke. And I said, what about a spiritual stroke, boss? And she didn't answer it, had a smile on her face, and she walked away. It's the last time It was love. Again, love was in this doctor's office. It was just amazing. Amazing. It really was.
Spiritual stroke. I feel like that could be the title of a talk that you do, like to break down what that is, because even though it happened in the physical, the physical is spiritual. You didn't separate the two and said, oh, well, my body's had a stroke, and so this is the end of it. Like, you just kept doing your practice of love because that's who you are. And that alone was the remedy. Like, you being who you are in love was the remedy. And it allowed you to go even deeper and open up and bring a portal here. You brought a portal here. You brought a portal here. That's what you did. It's still here. I'm just tuning into it. Because that portal is still with you. It's like with you wherever you go now. And that is your greater work. And that's why you came back from the NDE. That's my little psychic read on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tremendous that we have you here.
I love this family since I've become a part of this, and I try to tune in every Saturday, one way or the other. I love it. I love this family. I love it. And I'm coming to love that adorable face, Preston. That smile. I was going to wait for him to smile. Linda, you're amazing. You're amazing.
We're just going to have a love fest here. You guys can all join in. You actually said something that I've been curious about for a long time, because I had my heart stop for like a dozen times over a 6-week period, and the doctors could never figure it out. My doctor said, I've done every test on you. I can't find a reason. You're not epileptic. You're not this. You're not that. You're not having this thing. And, he was checking off all the things it wasn't. He goes, in the end, he said, I absolutely believe your heart's stopping, but I can't explain why. I don't know what to do to fix it. And, it took an energy worker to tell me it was because I didn't want to be here. And took her hours of working on me to actually make sure I wanted to be here and to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to realize, I never thought of it as being a spiritual heart attack.
It was a spiritual heart attack.
Spiritual heart failure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think tragedies always have a silver lining, and if there's, what we think is bad news is not necessarily. And Linda, I just want to point out, I love your ring. On your
my butterfly ring.
Yes, it's awesome.
You.
Yes,
I love my butterfly ring, and I love my bracelet. This is like my power bracelet. This is like my Wonder Woman bracelet.
Yes.
Yes, this is a bracelet by a famous Hopi artist from the 60s. And to me, this is when I talk about the ether and feeling the wave, and this is me tapping into it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So
these are my.
Can you see that little bracelet?
Power pieces. Yes.
I have two. I make these, but I was told by Grandpa Frank Foolscrow a long time ago, in spirit, to do this, and he called them hollow bones. So when I put this on every morning, I give thanks that I am a hollow vessel. I'm a hollow bone, and I do that. It's my little power pony bead leather bracelet. Yours is beautiful. Linda.
I love that you said hollow bones, and you use those terms, and a tube, because that's one of the things that I, in my practice, create this vessel, allow myself to be the vessel from down below and above, and this hollow tube, and just a conduit. We've played with the term a long time, but conduit is definitely one of those.
Yes. This has been amazing. Thank you.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so I would like you, sir, if I can purchase some beads from you, if you would make me do some ceremony and make one of those for me. That's my request to you. And then
honored to.
It would be a thrill. It would be a thrill to receive that from you. And then I also want to let people know that Miss Linda actually is, she has one of her side gigs is she sells gorgeous turquoise jewelry. And so if I don't know, Linda, how you feel about sharing your stuff in our chat, but I just, it's like she selects it. She, like, she's spiritually awake, she's spiritually alive. So she takes in gorgeous jewelry. She loves it. She blesses it, and then she gives it back out into the world. It's kind of like her side business, but it's also a ministry in a way, because she really does she's so connected. She can't help but do that. Right. So if you want to, if you love turquoise jewelry and other items that she has for sale, again, quality, because it's Linda. I just want you to know that she does that. And it'd be great for you to all connect with her that way. So, because jewelry has magic. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have the whole little side thing, and I do the custom pendulums for people.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes.
Which it's interesting because I go through and do them one at a time, one beat at a time, picking up what they are and what the message is for someone. And at the end, I read the stones. I never remember anything about stones, so it's I have to go back and look every single time. And there's usually it's like a prayer, this message that comes through the person in the pendulums. So
that's
beautiful.
It's
fun. I'll add that to the chat.
Yeah, please do. And and after the show, we'll put that link into our Facebook, or not our Facebook, we'll put our Facebook too, but into our YouTube description, so people have it.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we have about 13 minutes left. And were there any other questions from the audience, Linda, that you saw, or do people feel like they're satiated?
I think that I'm caught up on them. If I'm not, please repost it, because I think that is, I think we've gotten it all. If I'm not, like I said, catch up and catch me up on it. Yeah, I'm just having such a great time. I really want to have you back on the show.
Oh, for sure.
I'm definitely enjoying hearing Preston more as well. So thanks, Preston.
You're welcome. I have two experiences that I can share, and I'll make them short. One of them was a gentleman, his name was Howard, that was at the university in a different department. He was actually the manager of the plumbing department at this local university. And every time I would go over to physical facilities to get parts for the complex that I managed and did programs for the international students, he'd make fun of me all the time, cut me, judge me. I mean, sometimes I'd leave, I'd be in tears all the time. This went on for years. And I'd go back, do releasing, get rid of these energies, and just embrace them in love and light of the Lord. And I found out, and again, this went on for years, he lost his stepfather that basically raised him. And he was devastated. And I was nudged. This is the time to love on him. Get rid of your stuff and love on him. And I love writing love cards and 10 pages of love when something this happens. And I sent it to him. He's a big Harley guy. I mean, just like the big, strong, works out in the weight guy. And he comes up to me at where I work in my office, and he starts crying. He had the card in his hand. And he said, "This means the world to me." We became the best friends. He would come and gift me with tools and things I needed, just gift me. I can remember shortly after we became one, we saw one another in a store, and he came up and gave me this guy's taller and bigger than me. And I used to be a weightlifter, and just gave me a bear hug. And that was like, see what love can do, and letting go of these energies that you allow in from other people. When I was in the hospital with a mini stroke, a nurse came in from the 4th floor up to I was at 5 West, and she was like a drill sergeant. I'm still laying in that bed. Who are you? What are you doing? I mean, what do you do? What are you doing? Just real short. And this energy says, this is your spiritual project person for the day. So every time she would come in, she would feel this love energy. And you could tell she was getting brighter, more positive. They sent her down to the 4th floor before her shift was over. She came in, my wife's over in the corner, and she came in and she says, she's glowing. She says, thank you, thank you, thank you, and goodbye. That's all she said. And she turned around and walked. She was a totally different being with love. This is what we have to remember, that we are thermometers or thermostats. Most people are thermometers. They just reflect the atmosphere. But we have the power to change the atmosphere in any room we go in. Here at the yacht, people drive by and say, your land feels different. It feels like love. It feels like there's a presence there when people come for the ceremony. But she left totally changed. She had this glorious divine smile and just radiating. And it was just the energy in the room and loving on her, making the choice to love and be light and give thanks for her. Even in those, who knows what she had the day, she probably didn't want to be up on 5 West. She probably didn't want to be at work. Maybe she had a problem at home. Who knows? But this love did something, touched her internally. And she came in just to say, thank you, thank you. And it was, I'm almost in tears now thinking about it. Her name was Linda. I don't remember her last name, but her name was Linda. I remember that.
I was thinking radiator. We're radiators, radiating love. I think that's like a wonderful heater.
It's tremendous. Again, with these stories, you radiate the energy of the story, and our dear new friend Susan Redwine is also somebody who radiates the energy. She's an NDE'er, and she flutters with the energy of the other side. And so you're somebody who's just like, boom. And when you tell these stories, it is healing. Just reconnect, because you help us reconnect to the energy through these stories, and it becomes like healing it is again like healing by proximity. My goodness. All right. Well, we're getting to the end of our time, but yes, for heaven's sake, we're going to have you back on the show, because how could we not? So I think we've all fallen in love with you. So I wanted to ask you, sir, is there anything so we've got your information below. You've got your group on Facebook. We've got your email below. Do you have any offerings, website services that people, if they said, gosh, I would love to connect to Reverend Ned and, find out who my spiritual animal is, or I would like to find out, I'd like to have a healing ceremony. If he would be down for doing a healing ceremony, like, is that a service that he offers? What would you have for our community, for your community?
Is my email going to be there?
Yep.
My email, because I'm not sure. I'm not really a techie person. I do a lot of video calls with individuals and people, and we'll do things that way. And the Rev Ned Cosmic Interconnection, it's invite only, and reasons I've already shared. And I do post. Usually, what I post on the Facebook, I post on Instagram. If I don't get too verbal, sometimes as you can tell, I can talk. Oh, I have a great story. I was asked to talk to a college Afro-American group, auditorium full of them. Okay. And at one time I used to carry a cross, like to houses of prostitution. I would knock on the drug doors. I did that alone. No fear. You're right. Pure love has no fear. And this big pastor, he's about 6'8". He used to play football. He comes up and his name's Brother John, it's Pastor John. Can you come and talk to my group? You can make a difference. This was back in the 80s. Okay. I mean, crosses are still burning here in the area where we live. And after about 45 minutes of speaking, okay, white guy, cross, whole room of beautiful, beautiful young people. Not my persuasion. flavor wise. And I've started winding down to the hour. No, go further. So about hour and a half, go. They were rooting and cheering me on. 2 hours. No, go. I went 3 hours in this auditorium, just sharing, and just, if you've spoken in a crowd like that, it just energizes you, you know? And from that day on, this brother John and I, we did amazing things together in this community of Oxford, Ohio. We did amazing things together. I had that picture in my brain that was so positive and so happy, but that was way back in the 80s on pure love. It was about pure love. I was still a baby of pure love at that time.
You are probably what we call an ascended master or something like that. That's in physical form. I don't know how else to justify your existence on the planet, to be honest. Let us go ahead, Miss Linda. I'm going to toss you the mic if you want to switch us to Brady Bunch style.
Absolutely. Time to wrap it up. Oh, I don't want to, but
No.
yeah, we could be here all day. So that just means we're going to have to do this again. Gosh. Be sure, everybody, if you enjoyed this show, to like, share, and subscribe, join our Facebook group, yada, yada, you know all that stuff, but want to make sure that we remind you because we want to grow this love. And technically, we have to do that through hitting the right buttons and connecting the right people. So please make sure that you do that. And I just want to say thank you to our chat group that every time I connect into you energetically, and you're just so beautiful. Thank you for being such a big part of this family. And check out the connections that we have below in ours, and check out Preston's as well. So, you know, he is just this boy. I love to refer to him as my walking encyclopedia. Like, if there's something that we need to know, he knows it. He's been there. He is just it. And so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rev Ned. Thank you, Kat. We love you all.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And next week, before we do our final see you later, see you next Saturday, our next guest is Paulina Howland for next week. I'm trying to say next week, our guest is Paulina Howland. Thank you. So she is another NDE'er, but like Rev Ned, it's like she's an NDE'er and that is part of it, but there's so much more. And she has encounters with all sorts of cosmic beings, including mermaids, again, fairies, the wee folk, a host of ETs, and also the god Apollo. And I was like, Apollo? And she's like, yeah, you know, one of the gods of the that seeded humanity. It's like within her realms to have that connection. And it's like Rev Ned has these things that are so ordinarily they're extraordinary, but for him it's common, right? But they're still extraordinary. So it's another flavor, another version of that. She is a Brit living in Australia, so we're going to be doing it at a later date or later time, so check us for that. It'll be posted in our Facebook event. All right, and then I think last but not least, yeah, please do share this content. If you were in any way touched by Mr. Ned's fantastic sharing and teaching and embodying of the oneness, if that moved you at all today, please share our content around with those that you know would also would want this experience and join us in this experience. So all right, with that, thank you everyone. We love you. Thanks so much for showing up and participating. And thanks for being part of our community.
Bye-bye,
Blessings. Blessings.
And thank you, Preston.